Yeah. Okay. Technology. Thank you. Your Excellency, Dr. Mohammed Isham Jafar, Minister of Health of Brunei Darussalam and Chair of the Regional Committee, Honorable Ministers and Heads of Delegation, and my sister Susanna Jacob, Excellencies, dear colleagues and friends. Good morning, and it's an honor to be with you. As you know, this is a particularly important moment for the region as member states prepare to elect a new regional director. But before that, allow me to thank the Philippines for hosting our regional office and for all the support, the continued support they're providing. In this very historic regional committee, I'm pleased to note that the region will have either its first female regional director or its first regional director from the Pacific. So whichever way, it will be historic. And I look forward to working closely with whomever you choose. Teleprompter is not moving. I thank Australia for suggesting the candidates forum and other member states for supporting the idea. Earlier this month, the Eastern Mediterranean followed suit. They thought the WIPRO practice is good. And then the Southeast Asia region will also do it this week, 18 October, if I'm not wrong. So thank you so much for taking this Candidates Forum initiative. It's already taken by the two regions who will be electing their RDs as well. And the Secretariat intends to submit a proposal to the Executive Board to revise the guidance for elections of regional directors based on this experience, which brings transparency to the election process. So again, thank you so much to WIPRO and to all members. But my also special thanks to the chairperson, Honorable Bufong of Lao, the outgoing chair, for his leadership in starting it, along with other member states for supporting the idea. So I'd like to thank him for that and for his leadership. I know the past year has been very difficult one for the region, especially for staff here in the regional office. So I would like to be on record expressing my deep gratitude to all staff in the regional and country offices for your dedication, professionalism, and continued commitment to serving the people of the region despite these difficult and uncertain times. I would especially like to thank my sister Susanna, who must have thought her days as a regional director were behind her. But she has stepped willingly into a very difficult role at a very difficult time, and I know how much member states and the staff of the regional and country offices appreciate her. And by the way, without forgetting, like the saying goes, there is a woman behind every successful man, and there is also a man behind every successful woman. And her husband is here, and just amazing support he gives her. And we need to recognize Dr. Jacob in his own right, a surgeon. And yesterday he was telling me he did 18,000, 80 80,000 surgeries. So he is here, and I think Philippines, you have some precious hand in your hands. So I think it would be important to use it. And I know Minister was negotiating yesterday. Excellencies, and then to Susanna, maybe from the little Hungarian I know, I would like to say to you and your husband, Kosenem. Thank you so much. Excellencies, colleagues, please stand and join me in expressing your thanks to Dr. Susanna Jacob. Thank you. Thank you very much. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, last month's United Nations General Assembly in New York was a historic one for health, with 3 high-level meetings on health issues. Member states approved strong political declarations on pandemic prevention, preparedness and response, universal health coverage, and tuberculosis. All 3 are relevant to the work of this region. And all 3 depend on a strong WHO and a strong region of the Western Pacific. Over the past 6 years, WHO has undergone the most significant transformation in its history, grounded in a bold new strategy, the 13th General Program of Work. As you know, we're now working with member states to develop the 14th General Program of Work for 2025 to 2028. In my address to the regional committee last year, I outlined 5 priorities, the 5 Ps, which are now becoming the basis of GPW 14 to promote, provide, protect, power, and perform for health. A few words on each. The first priority is to promote health and prevent disease by addressing its root cause in the air people breathe, the products they consume, and the conditions in which they live and work. This is especially important for the prevention of non-communicable diseases, which account for almost 90% of deaths in the region. Action to reduce tobacco use, improve diets, and increase physical activity must be key priorities for all member states, as must be action to reduce emissions to address climate change, which is a threat to all nations, but especially to our friends, brothers, and sisters in the Pacific. I'm very much looking forward to COP28 in the United Arab Emirates in December, which for the first time will include a day dedicated to health. I encourage all member states to participate actively. Not only your participation, Your Excellencies, please also encourage the heads of state and heads of government to join us during the Health Day. Empowering people to make healthy choices depends on them having reliable information. So I welcome the Regional Action Framework on Communication for Health, which you will consider this week. The second priority is to provide health by radically reorienting health systems towards primary health care at the foundation of universal health coverage. The most recent edition of the Global Monitoring Report on Universal Health Coverage, published just a few weeks ago, shows that the Western Pacific enjoys one of the highest rates of service coverage in the world. Although, of course, there are significant differences between member states. As a result, you have made significant progress against several indicators, including reproductive, maternal, newborn, child, and adolescent health and against communicable diseases. I congratulate you for the significant declines in malaria cases and deaths you have achieved, especially in the Mekong region. It's also pleasing to note that Western Pacific enjoys the highest antiretroviral treatment coverage for HIV of any region. I also congratulate Lao PDR for being verified for the elimination of lymphatic filariasis. However, while service coverage and health outcomes are improving, the latest UHC data also show that across the region, catastrophic health spending has increased alarmingly, exposing many individuals and families to financial hardship as a result of having to pay for care out of their own pockets. So high out-of-pocket payment is a serious problem in the region, and I hope you will focus on this issue and address it. So I urge all member states to focus on financial protection for your populations. The backbone of a strong health system is a strong health workforce. So I welcome the regional framework to shape health workforce for the future of the Western Pacific, which you will consider this week. The third priority is to protect health by preparing countries to mitigate health risks and to rapidly detect and respond to both acute and protracted health emergencies. Just last week, I was in Cairo, the regional committee meeting of the Eastern Mediterranean. The region bears a heavy burden of health emergencies, including the conflict in Israel and the occupied Palestinian territory, which erupted just over a week ago. We can all be grateful that this region does not suffer to the same extent from violent conflict. But as the regional director's report notes, there are many other emergencies to which you have responded in the past year, including earthquakes, cyclones, typhoons, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, and food safety incidents. I welcome the Asia-Pacific Health Security Action Framework, which you will consider this week. Meanwhile, regionally and globally, the same vulnerabilities that COVID-19 exposed persist. During the pandemic, all countries built new capacities to prevent and control epidemics and pandemics. I urge all member states to sustain those gains and not slip back into the cycle of panic and neglect. The investments you have made must not go to waste, and nor must the painful lessons we have learned together. That's why WHO has developed a plan for a more equitable, inclusive, coherent global architecture for health emergency preparedness and response with equity at its core. The new pandemic accord and amendments to the international health regulations will provide the vital legal foundations for this architecture. However, I'm concerned, I would like to underline this, however, I'm concerned that negotiations are moving too slowly and that the accord may not be agreed in time for next year's World Health Assembly as agreed. I urge all member states to work with a sense of urgency, with a particular focus on resolving the most difficult and contentious issues. This is a unique opportunity that we must not miss to put in place a comprehensive accord that addresses all of the lessons learned during the pandemic, with a particular emphasis on equity. This is the generation that lived during the pandemic. We're called the lived community. And this is a generational agreement that should be written by us, by the lived community that has first-hand experience in fighting this dreadful pandemic. So the deadline is May 2024. I hope you will make it. And providing and protecting health are proposed as the 3 key priorities for all member states in the 14th General Program of Work. The other 2 P's, powering and performing for health, are enablers of the first 3. Powering health means harnessing the power of science, research and development, data and digital technologies. And the Regional Health Innovation Strategy for the Western Pacific, which is on your agenda this week, is important for fostering new solutions to health challenges. At the global level, WHO has recently launched the Global Initiative on Digital Health at the G20 Health Ministers meeting in India. The global initiative will support member states by converging and convening global standards, best practices, and resources for digital health transformation rooted in people-centered, evidence-based solutions. And we're preparing well to really support you to make advances in digital health technology. And the final P, performing for health, is about the work we're doing at the Secretariat to support you better. In particular, one of my key focuses for the remainder of my second term is to strengthen our country offices with a core country presence, delegation of authority, adequate financial and human resources, the implementation of global mobility, enhanced internal communications, and more, so that our country offices can support you in a better way. We support them in order to support you based on your priorities. And to support these efforts, I have squeezed $100 million from our budget to allocate to country offices. Our program budget for the next biennium is also the first in which country offices will be allocated more than half of the total budget for the biennium. By the way, the transformation at the country level is being led by the country office heads themselves. And we have strong 6 colleagues representing the 6 regions leading this change. So this is by the country offices, for the country offices. And the role of the headquarters and region is to give them what they're asking in order to do their job better at the country level. And we have already increased funding flows to regions and countries, and the more flexible funding we receive, the more we can increase that amount. Our work to strengthen country offices will benefit greatly from the 20% increase in assessed contributions and by the proposal for an investment round, both of which you approved at this year's World Health Assembly. And would like to use this opportunity to thank you for supporting assessed contribution and also investment round as part of the sustainable financing reform that we have started. We're also continuing our efforts to strengthen our workforce, to achieve gender equity at all levels, and to make zero tolerance for all forms of sexual misconduct a reality and not merely a slogan. Excellency, Chair, Excellencies, thank you all once again for your continued commitment to promoting, providing, protecting, powering, and performing for health in the Western Pacific. I wish you all a very productive and successful regional conference. I thank you.